I just want to start off this review by talking about David Dastmalchian because this guy is a chameleon. I have followed his career for quite a few years and he just does not pick the same type of role twice. He just picks really interesting, diverse, not necessarily main actors, but he's always kind of somewhere in the background or, in the middle somewhere of a movie. And he's sinister, he's interesting, he's quirky, he's dark, he can be funny. He's so many different things, and it's really, I was really interested to see what he'd be doing in a horror movie, of all things, and he doesn't disappoint. Dastmalchian plays Jack Delroy, a charismatic, somewhat skeptical host of a popular late-night talk show, The Nightly Truth, set in 1977. Jack is struggling with TV ratings, and he's in a battle with Johnny Carson to get the #1 spot. He's known for his sharp wit and his ability to engage with controversial topics, and it's earned him a loyal viewer base. But beneath this confident exterior, he really struggles with personal demons and the pressure of maintaining the show's success in the competitive world of television. Jack's wife, a former television producer who has left the industry to focus on her writing career, is an intelligent and supportive background character who I don't want to go into too much detail with in this review because of spoilers. But it's interesting. We do get little flashes of this initially at the beginning of the film. It's not really talked about too much, but it does play an integral role in this film as it slowly develops. And with its tight runtime of 90 minutes, this plot really does fire along at a whip-crack pace because we are watching this as if we are the audience. The actual camera movement never really loses that perspective, and it keeps us locked in like we're on a fairground ride and we can't get off. The main plot unfolds during a particularly audacious episode where Jack decides to host a live séance in an effort to spike ratings. The episode quickly spirals out of control as genuine supernatural phenomena begin to kind of manifest, terrifying the live audience and crew. It's a very clever film. As the psychic starts channeling spirits on live TV, we as the audience and the audience that we're watching on screen can't really tell if this is being played as a hoax or is actually something that's really occurring as a real event right in front of our eyes. So the studio set becomes a playground for weird happenings with the host, crew, and the live audience being caught up in a supernatural event that's being broadcast. And the film masterfully keeps you glued to your seat as each layer of this show's facade is slowly peeled back to reveal something quite dark and sinister. Now, the psychic gentleman that David Dastmalchian brings on is called Christou, and he claims to possess genuine medium abilities, which he says allows him to communicate with the dead. Now, we don't know, again, as the audience, if this guy is just a hoax or a scam artist, and it makes it all for more engaging viewing. His very dramatic style only adds to his allure on screen. He brings in a guy called Carmichael, who is a renowned skeptic and a debunker of paranormal claims, with a background in psychology and sharp, analytical mind. He's the kind of foil to this guy's saber, and he's made a career out of exposing frauds and explaining supernatural phenomena with science. And his presence on the show is intended to provide a counterbalance to this psychic's claim, offering a rational explanation and perspective to the audience. Every time Christou performs something on stage, he tries to debunk it immediately and give a rational explanation as to how this has been performed, and he basically thinks the man is a complete charlatan. And this kind of creates more and more rising tension as the film starts to gain momentum. The séance concludes with an unexplainable event that neither Carmichael nor Christou can control, forcing both to acknowledge that something really is actually happening, and something supernatural even. And this shared experience slightly bridges their divide, leaving the audience kind of to ponder the reality of the paranormal. It's very, very cleverly done. I'd like to talk about the budget for Late Night with the Devil, because it was produced with a modest overall budget, which is typical for many indie horror movies. This limited budget means that every dollar has to be really carefully allocated to maximize the film's impact. And a result, like the filmmakers decided to focus on few key areas like cast location, special effects, and the special effects budget for Late Night with the Devil was set at 150 grand. And this is a relatively low budget compared to larger studio films, but not uncommon for genre films like aiming to use practical effects creatively. And the decision to rely on practical effects is both a stylistic and like a budgetary one. Practical effects can often be cheaper than high-end CGI and lend a more kind of tangible, visceral feel to horror films, which is really crucial for maintaining suspense and fear, especially as it's set in the 70s. If you start throwing CGI in there, they just don't seem to fit in particularly well, especially as CGI does stand out quite harshly if it's not very subtle, and it can really take you out of a movie. As the film is set almost entirely within the confines of a TV studio during a live broadcast, the location setup reduces those costs significantly, eliminating like the need for multiple sets and location shoots, etc. And it adds to that claustrophobic atmosphere, which really kind of heightens the tension of the movie. Given the budget, the effects team had to be really innovative with their techniques, and they utilised like in-camera tricks such as forced perspective, clever lighting and shadow play to create ghostly apparitions and supernatural phenomena. And this approach not only saved money, but it really did enhance the authenticity of the horror elements, making them feel more integrated into the physical space that you're watching. The limited use of CGI, and there is CGI in here, but it is very limited, were necessary. They were used like really judiciously to like enhance some of the practical stuff, to like add subtleties to ghostly figures or manipulate the environment in the ways that practical effects probably couldn't achieve on their own. So to wrap up, it's hard not to appreciate what a rare gem a film like this is in the current landscape of horror cinema. In an era where kind of really gripping, well-crafted horror films seem few and far between, Late Night with the Devil kind of stands out, not just for its storytelling and smart use of budget, but for reminding us of the power of psychological horror and atmospheric tension. It's a real stark contrast to the jump scare laden fare that really kind of dominates box office movies, and it kind of offers a kind of a deeper, more unnerving experience that sticks with you long after the credits, and I really kind of prefer those kind of movies. If you've enjoyed this dive into this horror film, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel out and lets me know that you appreciate the content. And if you're new here and you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.